Hey my fellow Resident Evil fans. With the upcoming release of Resident Evil The Final Chapter, I decided to celebrate by reviewing Resident Evil Afterlife, which is the first entry in the series I was finally able to see in theaters. Resident Evil Afterlife was made on an increased budget of $60 million and was released in theaters on September 10th, 2010, and the film managed to make an insane amount of money at the box office, making over $296 million worldwide, and Resident Evil Afterlife is the highest box office grossing zombie movie to date, and it's also the highest grossing film ever shot in Canada, and it's also Screen Gems' highest earning film to date. I went to see the film opening night and I really enjoyed it, and I ended up going the following weekend and seeing it a second time with my girlfriend, but my only disappointment that our IMAX wasn't showing the film, so I had no choice but to settle for Real D's 3D, but the film was still a blast. Resident Evil Afterlife begins a short time after Resident Evil Extinction concluded. Alice, along with her clone army, attack the Umbrella Corporation's headquarters in Tokyo, and they just kick ass and kill everybody. And I love this opening battle sequence. Chairman Albert Wesker, after managing to kill several of Alice's clones, manages to escape in an aircraft, and he triggers the Umbrella facility's self-destruct, which causes a massive explosion which looks awesome, and Alice's clones are killed, but there is major debate among the fanbase if every one of Alice's clones were killed, given there were somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 clones of Alice at the end of Extinction, and I can't see Alice risking sending every one of her clones into that one facility, so I highly doubt every one of Alice's clones died. Alice managed to sneak on board Wesker's aircraft, and she literally puts the gun to his head and asks if he has any last words, but before Alice can kill him, he stabs her in the neck with a syringe and injects an anti-serum into her blood, which causes her to lose her superhuman abilities. And to make matters worse, Wesker reveals he has superhuman abilities thanks to the T-Virus, and he overpowers Alice despite her best efforts, but before he can kill her, the aircraft crashes and Alice seems to be the only one who survived. 6 months later, Alice headed for Alaska looking for Arcadia, which was implied in the last film as a safe haven, and that's where Claire Redfield and her convoy of survivors were headed, while Alice was fighting Umbrella. Alice arrives and it's literally a ghost town, and she sees tons of abandoned planes and she thinks she's alone when she suddenly sees someone, and after a chase, Alice thinks she lost them when she is suddenly attacked, and after a struggle, Alice knocks the person out, and it's revealed to be Claire, and Alice discovers this weird mechanical spider attached to her chest, and later after Alice manages to get it off, and Claire wakes up, Alice realizes Claire has no memories, and clearly something bad happened. The next day, Alice is airborne with Claire as her passenger, and someone is monitoring her movements by satellite. Claire tells Alice she has no memories and can't even remember her name, and Alice gives her what little information she can, and they fly to Los Angeles looking for survivors, and Los Angeles is now a wasteland. While flying over the city, Alice spots survivors at the prison, and after circling the prison and seeing the army of undead surrounding the prison, realizing there was no other choice, she manages to land her plane on the prison roof, but it was a rough landing, and Alice and Claire nearly went off the roof and became a meal for the undead, but a new character named Luther West leaps into the air and manages to grab onto the plane and prevent it from going over, but it was a close call. Alright, after their close call, Alice makes nice with the locals, and she's informed by them that they know about Arcadia, and it's not actually a place in Alaska, but a ship that they can see sitting off the coast, and they haven't been able to make contact with them. Alice tells Claire that's Arcadia, and Claire says she remembers the ship and people coming to help them, but she can't remember anything else. The goal from this point on is to find a way to get to the ship. The story slows down for a little while, and we get some character development, and Alice learns that a man the group is keeping locked in a cell might have a way out, and Alice questions him, but he won't talk until they let him out. But the question is, can he be trusted? The next day after a close call, the group realizes their safe haven is no longer safe, When a group of zombies manage to tunnel their way into the prison and kill one of the group, seeing no other choice, Alice lets out Chris, who turns out to be Chris Redfield, who is Claire Redfield's brother. And the group forms a plan to escape, but things don't go as planned, and one of the group, a guy named Bennett, decides to be an ass, and kills one of the group and steals Alice's plane, and after a close call he heads towards the Arcadia, freaking murderous coward. Alice and the remaining survivors end up in a pretty intense battle with the undead, which creates some pretty damn good action sequences. The group head back to the cell block and realizing they have no other choice, they climb down into the tunnels, but Kim Yong, one of the group, is suddenly sliced in half by the Axeman, who is called the Executioner in the games, is a super zombie with one really large damn axe, and Alice and Claire end up in a pretty intense fight, and eventually they manage to kill the Axeman. The group heads down into the sewer drain, but Luther, before he could jump down to safety, is suddenly attacked by a zombie in the tunnel and has a cave-in, and it looks like Luther didn't survive. Alice, Claire, and Chris head to Arcadia, and once on board they discover that Arcadia is a ship the Umbrella Corporation controls, and Claire remembers Umbrella personnel attacking them back in Alaska, and everyone was taken except for Claire, who managed to escape. It's a major revelation. They find over 2,000 people on board in cryostasis, and they find Kmart among them, and while they're freeing everyone, Alice follows a blood trail leading into another room, where Alice finds Wesker, who reveals the T-Virus brought him back to life, but unlike Alice, the T-Virus is fighting him for control and he plans to ingest Alice to gain control, and it turns into a pretty awesome fight. And one interesting piece of trivia, the fight between Chris and Wesker was recreated shot by shot from Resident Evil 5. Alice has a close call with Bennett, who stabs Alice with a knife, but she manages to pull it out and stab Wesker in the head, but unintentionally Wesker gets some of Alice's blood, which I suspect allows him to regain control later. Chris and Claire open fire on Wesker and use him for target practice, and when he seems to be dead, they leave but lock in Bennett, and Wesker comes back to life and seems to have him for a snack. And it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Wesker manages to escape on an aircraft, and he triggers the ship's self-destruct, but gets one major surprise when it's revealed that Alice put the self-destruct device on his aircraft, and it seems to literally blow up in his face, killing him. Everything seems to be over, and suddenly we're taken back to the sewer, where it's revealed Luther managed to survive his close call with the undead, and Alice decides to put out a radio call telling any survivors out there that they will help them, and everything is looking bright, when suddenly several combat aircraft head towards the Arcadia, and Alice knows trouble's coming, and it looked like the film ended, but there was a post-credit scene revealing that Jill Valentine, who is under the control of one of the mechanical spiders, is leading the assault against them, and that was a major surprise. Alright, that was Resident Evil Afterlife. So what are my final thoughts on the film? To be honest, guys, I really like it, and it might be my favorite in the series, but the original and Apocalypse do give it a run for its money. The story is simple and straightforward, but there's nothing wrong with that, and it works really well. And I really like the characters, and I love the action and battle scenes. The 3D effects are pretty good, and the film was shot using the Sony F-35 camera, which James Cameron helped develop. And the F-35 was the same camera he used on Avatar. And an interesting piece of trivia, apparently Mila Jovovich accidentally shot out one of the cameras, which was worth $100,000. And all I can say is, whoops. And good thing the movie made over $296 million. In the end, Resident Evil Afterlife might not be a perfect film, but it's a film I really enjoy, and I highly recommend you guys check this one out. I will talk to you guys later. This is the Entertainment Wizard, signing off.